just you. Okay. No other suspects around? Okay. Whew. Okay, folks. Welcome to a secret, undisclosed hideout. Hidden somewhere deep in the bowels of downtown St. John's, Newfoundland comes in the Library of Graphic Literature. Crime Edition. Doom, 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 doom. So, this week there wasn't much in the way of new comics out, so I decided, well, you know, I'm going to do a special edition. And, as a matter of fact, hang on for a second while I just put this over here. Do 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 do. And okay, I got all my news here. This episode 2, by the way, is dedicated to the fine folks who do the Bloody Murder podcast that I'm a huge fan of. Sariban and Barney. I always forget Barney's last name here. Barney Black. There it is. Barney Black and Sarah. So Barney and Sarah do a great podcast, by the way. I had my notes over there. I'd forgotten to bring them over here with me. They do a great crime podcast. I'm a big fan of true crime, by the way, and true crime shows and the like. So I decided, hey, let's. Well, first of all, let's fix up my light over here. There. So. Being a huge crime fan, I decided, well, this will be a special crime episode in the Library of Graphic Literature with me, Wallace Ryan, your host. But like I say, it wasn't much out this week in terms of new comics. As a matter of fact, one of the few things I did get this week, if not the only thing, is the Colossal Conan the Cimmerian. So I thought I'd have a look at this now before we get into the crime part of this show. So let's have a look here. Ooh. This is nice. Timothy Truman, Rich Corbin, Joe Kubert. Rich panoply of artists and Conan stories. I've been a huge Conan fan since I was a kid. I actually read a lot of the original Conan books and stuff like that, and of course I love the Marvel Conan series. So this is one of probably the second last book I think it is from Dark Horse that is Conan related, and it's a nice heavy book. Ooh, let's have a look. Here's the dust jacket, pretty cool. And here's the inside cover, and let's have a look at it. There's the Corbin stuff. Who doesn't like Rich Corbin? So I'm really looking forward to reading this. Like I say, being a huge Conan fan, I have of course the infamous Colossal Conan, and I'll be getting the King Conan omnibus too to round out my collection. But yeah, for you fans of Conan, this is a must-have edition. So anyway, that's all the new books there for this week. So from here, let's jump right into our crime cavalcade of comics. Now I do have two categories within this, and one is true crime and one is just general crime comics. Ironically enough, crime comics until recently were technically actually illegal in Canada, and but fortunately our enlightened leader, Justin Trudeau, last I seen it was on the order paper to have it rescinded, and so thanks a lot, Justin. He's done something for us. Now, first of all, the first thing I'm going to talk about, the first crime book, and a true crime one, is Crime Does Not Pay. Crime Does Not Pay ran from 42 to 55, I do believe it is. It was published by a guy by the name of Lev Gleason, and Gleason basically produced a lot of comics that were essentially for older readers and all that. And he'd hired Charles Beru and Bob Wood to work on his Daredevil and Silver Streak comics, and eventually he moved them, gave them room to spread their wings, and they created Crime Does Not Pay, and it's a cool. They were a cool set of comics. They claim to have been like to have sold millions and millions. Whether or not that's true is another thing. But Crime Does Not Pay is actually one of my favorite of the all-time crime comics. Dark Horse put out this volume. They only got up to volume 10, unfortunately. So Philip and you folks there at Dark Horse, if you think about putting out some more books, try putting out a few more of these. These are really cool. Towards the end, though, with the introduction of the Comics Code and all that, basically began to water it down, and eventually, like all good things, it came to an end. Gleason did some other stuff, but not very much after this. Beru ended up working on graphic design, I think, with at one of the networks, NBC or something like that. And he died in '72. Gleason died in '71. But the most interesting part of this was the story of Bob Wood. Bob Wood, in 1958, was arrested and convicted of manslaughter. He'd murdered a woman in a hotel room, allegedly with a iron, and an iron for ironing your clothes. And so he spent, I think it was, he only got like 3 years for it. But ironically, when he got out, he himself was murdered because of some debts he had left over from his days in prison. So I guess crime did not pay. So anyway, if you'd like to check them out, they're really cool, and I'm pretty sure these are still in print too. But great stories. They even had this Mr. Crime, sort of like their figurehead, like eerie and creepy. Had the witches and stuff like that, and he was their narrator and all that. And some cool, really cool work in it. One of my favorites. So, true crime, true crime, true crime. Your name is Crime Does Not Pay. Love them. Love them, love them, love them, love them. Love them. Next from, this is a nice set of them here too, from Rick Geary, and these were from NBM Graphic Novels. There's a set of, well, there's two anyway, The Treasure of Victoria Murder Compendium and Compendium 2. Now these basically collect a lot of, he did these in smaller books, released them in smaller books, and then he put them together in these. So these would have, for instance, Jack the Ripper, The Fatal Bullet, The Beast of Chicago, which is related to H.H. Holmes. In this Treasure of Victoria Murder, there's The Borden Tragedy, Mary Rogers, The Bloody Benders, which is pretty cool, The Infamous Madeline Smith, and The Murder of Lincoln. Woo! Then, of course, there was the Treasury of 20th Century Murder, which included the Lindbergh Kidnapping, Madison Square Tragedy, The Terrible Axemen of New Orleans. Now, I love, as anyone out there who knows me, I love the, as a matter of fact, we'll have a look at this one because this one's a bit bigger. And this is one recently from him, The True Death of Billy the Kid. But I love Gary's work. He has, I mean, he goes through, I love the way he actually outlines things. Like he'll show you a drawing of the town, and there's various maps and stuff like that that he'll have. Well, not in that part of it, but there, like there. And even like the layout of things, certain scenes, stuff like that. And it's the man is amazing in terms of pen and ink. I've been a huge Rick Geary fan for years, and I will continue to be him. But these in terms of true crime, can't get any better. Love you, Rick Geary. Love you. love you. Do, 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 do. Oh, and here's one of my favorite, the Simon and Kirby Library Crime Edition. These are from Titan Books. There was a set of 4 of these books that Titan put out that collected basically science fiction, horror, and superheroes and crime. They put out 4 books, and their crime one here basically has a lot of their the Simon and Kirby true crime. So these are pretty cool themselves, and if you're a Kirby fan, of course, you've got to get this. But here, have a close look here. Of course, Kirby and Simon, Simon and Kirby. Who else better could you have? Look at that. Get me the golden gun. And Public Enemy #1. I worked for the fence. Do 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 do. Look at that. I mean, Kirby even back then was Alvin Carpets. He had it even back then. Ask Eddie Green, consultant to crime. But yeah, great, beautiful. This is one of my favorite books. So as a matter of fact, I love this entire. Oh, look, Justice Traps the Guilty. I love a lot of the titles from way back then. Real Clue. So yeah, this one, I'm not sure if this one's still in print, but if it is, you should get out and see it. And buy it, sorry, and read it. Here, speaking of true crime, this is from the EC Library, according to the cover, Real Stories from Police Records. So sounds very official and the like. But yeah, another thing too, I love the old crime comics from years ago because they're so lurid, as the expression goes, and they're pretty cool. Like I say, the drawing, it's not like the drawing is these days, but still, it's of all them. These are some of the better true crime comics from years ago. Oh, look at that! Love that. So the boys definitely had it. I mean, if someone was going to do it and do a good job of it, it would have been EC. Money hungry. So, but yeah, and War Against Crime. But check this out. This is volume 1 anyway, so there's more of these to come. Another one of my favorite. And last but not least, here as I go through some of these true crime, the true crime section of my evening. This will be one of the, I guess, one of the best graphic novels having to do with true crime in terms of serial killers and that, and one of my favorite, one of the best written books I think about the subject is Durf's My Friend Dahmer. This, and it was actually made into a movie. I've yet to see the movie, of course, because, you know, how many places would actually play such a good movie. But it's an amazing insight into Dahmer, and basically it's really all about his late high school years, that sort of thing, and very interesting because it shows you basically the birth of the monster, and basically it more or less ends where just as the killing begins, which is kind of cool because this is what I like. It really digs deeper than just showing you the piles of corpses and the grief and the tragedy of the whole thing. This really reaches back into his past and brings up, you know, the things that basically help make a monster. Shows me he was into the drinking quite a bit, I guess, in school. And he used to apparently carry on and was quite the joker at times. But yeah, it's a graphic novel that I highly recommend. So check it out. Now, along with true crime comes just plain old crime fiction. And of course, when it comes to crime fiction, there's a lot of cool books for you crime fanatics in terms of crime fiction out there. This is one of my favorite, Richard Stark's Parker, adapted and illustrated by the late great Darren Cook. There were 4 books in these series, absolutely cool, and it was done in this very Tothian simplistic style. Really cool, hard-edged crime drama. Good old hard-boiled type of crime, hard-boiled detective type of stories. So this one and the other 4 books in the series, all worth, or the other 3 books, all worth getting. Let's see. Oh yes, of course. There's this thing here. Now this has half and half. This has basically sort of a bit of real life written in with it. One of the stories in this actually is Torso, which is about the Cleveland serial killer who Elliot Ness was not able to capture, and then just some other crime stories here in with it. I really liked all these, so these I would highly recommend. The Torso is actually really cool too. It's a great piece of little true crime stuff, so pick that up if you can. Let's see. Ooh, talking about true crime fiction, one of the well, to me, one of the greatest crime noir comics is the let's see, what does it say here now? This would have been from the 90s. Is it the 90s? Yeah. One of my favorite crime, well, noir crime in a lot of ways, is Stray Bullets. This one, if you haven't read this, you have to read it. This is David Lapham's crime masterpiece, and it's just it's crazy good. Absolutely love it. Beautiful drawing, amazing stories. It's one of the more underrated comics out there. It's back out now, and but unfortunately it doesn't get the love I think that it should. So if you haven't read Stray Bullets, run out there and get yourself a copy. Stray Bullets, top notch. Really top notch. It's just that good. Okay, let's see. Ooh, there's another underrated one. This is from Greg Rucka and Matthew Southworth. This is Stumptown. And Stumptown, it's another cool. It's set in the Pacific Northwest, and it follows the adventures of this private detective and her basically her adventure is solving crimes. Dex Perizos. This one I can't recommend enough. There's 4 books out, I do believe, so far. Great art. The stories are really cool. Definitely worth reading. So pick up one of those. I insist. Let's see, a couple more here. Oh yeah, and of course, I can't talk about crime noir without talking about Ed Brubaker. And Ed Brubaker is, nowadays, he's kind of like the new David Lapham in terms of he's now the king noir, I think, in comics. Great stories, and he does great twists on crime noir. This is crime noir with a Velvet with and this is with Epstein. Crime noir with a sort of spy type of feel to it. Absolutely stunning artwork. Great stories, just amazing. So this, like I say, that one is kind of like a spy thing. This was another one of his other ones. Criminal with Sean Phillips, and Phillips and him ended up doing actually quite a few things in the end. Criminal, this is one of my favorite too. There's two books out, and this is the first volume. Another one that I just can't recommend enough. Check out the artwork, great simplistic artwork. Like I say, I'm a Tothian when it comes to that, and this is just absolutely brilliant work by the Brubaker man. And of course, this is Fatale. Fatale, it's kind of like crime noir with a bit of Cthulhu thrown in with it. So a bit of a mystical crime noir. So I like the way he takes a little bit of a twist. It seems he did The Sleeper, which was kind of crime noir and superhero, and then look at this. I mean, come on, him and Phillips are the bee's knees, I tell you. Knock your socks off and put them back on. So definitely well worth getting. Love Fatale. Oh, and now this is Fade Out, which is crime noir set in the old days of the 30s and 40s, the days of the movie industry. Back when, you know, if someone was murdered, they could buy the silence from the local police force. So there's corruption, there's sex, drugs, and rock and roll, everything in it. This one is really cool. I love this story. So check that one out. Oh, let's see here. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, and this one I just got today. This is the first original graphic novel from Brubaker and Phillips. It's a thin little thing, but now this one I haven't read, but of course I will read this over the weekend. My heroes have always been junkies. Woo! Great title, eh? And oh yes, last but not least, back to EC we come with crime suspense stories. Woo! Now this is one of the old gemstone editions here, but now crime suspense stories is once again some good fictional stories done in the old EC format there. Really cool stuff. And look, Johnny Craig, where are you now? Probably 6 feet under, actually. But anyway, beautiful work. And that folks, is it for the my special crime edition of comics. Most of these books, like I say, are still in print for the most part. But yeah, it's now, I mean, in terms of crime comics, really all superhero comics are crime comics, I guess, in a way. But these are like real crime comics. Criminal they are. So yeah, if you like crime noir and all that, check out any of these books that you've seen me talk about there. And if you like true crime, check out them. And of course, like I say, check out Bloody Murder with Sarah and Barney. Tara and Barney, their show is absolutely amazing. I discovered it maybe about 2 months ago, looking for podcasts about true crime stories and all that, and I came upon them. And it's a great podcast because it's true crime and comedy mixed together. And it's kind of weird when you think about it. How can you mix true crime and comedy? But Tara and Barney seem to do. They're very funny. It's not for you. It's not for the faint of heart or those who are easily offended, because there's lots of swearing in it, which of course doesn't disturb me. As a matter of fact, I kind of like it even better, probably because of that. So for you two folks, this show is for you. So everyone out there tonight, after watching this, go online, look up Bloody Murder, and give them a listen. Way to go, guys. thanks for having me over. Anyway, in the meantime, we'll see you next week, and keep on reading. And I don't seem to have my mother box here for my usual exit, so I will disguise myself and try to get away before the police get me. So, see you next week. Bye!